Well, Indiana Tech, known as the Warriors, typically show their fighting spirit on the court. Two of the best teams in the nation, despite what side you look at, the women's team or the men's team. But today, they had to be Warriors in a different aspect. Road Warriors, fighting through the elements in Indiana, the snow, the wind, everything else, just to get to Grand Rapids. But the funny thing is, their fight doesn't stop there just yet. Here inside of Mole Arena, they get ready to take on an unranked Cornerstone team that's off to one of their best starts in conference since Jessica Yonkers took over as head coach. Nate Wangler back alongside Titus as we get ready for game 1 of 2 here tonight. This women's game is again unranked Cornerstone, 11-9 overall this season, 10-3 in conference play. Gets ready to take on Indiana Tech. The Road Warriors turned the Court Warriors, I guess, for this game. Number 12 in the country, 7-3 or 17-3, 11-1 in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. And coming into big games like this, Titus, you know, you always talk about the pressure that comes with it. If you're the team that's favored to win on the other end, it's more about just coming out and playing free and easy. But your first impressions of this game overall, and maybe something Cornerstone has to do to win this basketball game.
I think overall it's a tough matchup for Cornerstone. Indiana Tech doing so many things well on the offensive and defensive end. Obviously, the overall athleticism of this Indiana Tech team showed a lot in the matchup that these two had a couple months ago with a very large victory for Indiana Tech. That being said, you can't ever count Cornerstone out. As you mentioned, having a very good season, 10-3 inside the WAC, best conference record they've had in quite some time. And in my mind, a large part of that is due to the defense, in particular, how they've been able to force turnovers, forcing 17.5 a game, averaging about 10 steals a game. To me, if Cornerstone's going to win this game, it starts with the defense, getting those steals, forcing turnovers, and then being able to get out and run and get some points in transition.
Jessie Biggs into her 10th season as the head coach for Indiana Tech. A lot of key players on this team. We'll get to some of those key players as the game rolls along, but a lot of veteran leadership, I guess you could say. A lot of upperclassmen on this Indiana Tech team, and I think that's kind of what's been able to carry them through this season. I guess we can start off with Kyra Whitaker, really the main point scorer for Indiana Tech. 18.8 points per game, but that's what you expect with a team who's able to move the ball as well as they are. By the way, that's third overall in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. I think offensively they need to get to work shutting her down. On the other end for Cornerstone, they come into this one hot. Rattled off 3 straight wins, edging Uno 82-71, went by Madonna 70-61, and then on the road, Jaxie Long with a game-winning bucket and a 68-66 win over Lords. A lot of possibilities if they end up winning this game somehow, and they're going to have to put up a good fight here tonight. Who's really impressed you, I guess, on the Cornerstone side?
I think possibly most impressive for me this season has been Olivia Kubik, coming off the bench only with 2 starts, but averaging over 10 points a game for Cornerstone off the bench. She's been a key part, being able to spark this offense when the starters have gone into a little bit of a slump. It's happened a couple of times to start games with slow starts early in the first quarter. Kubik has done a nice job being able to come in. She's hit a lot of big threes, sparking that offense off the bench.
Conference game coming up next. An opportunity for Cornerstone to topple a top 15 team here inside of Mole Arena, but they're going to have to get off to a hot start. We'll see if they can do that when we return. Game time just around the corner. Cornerstone and Indiana Tech right here on the Cornerstone Sports Network.
Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, is now University of Michigan Health West. Call us bold, owning our role as part of one of the top health systems in the world. Call us compassionate, as we deliver care with dignity, kindness, and respect. Call us relentless, letting absolutely nothing come between us and our mission of advancing care. Excellence has a new name, University of Michigan Health West. Find out more at ufmhealthwest.org.
let there be light. And let there be round 2. Indiana Tech in Cornerstone. Conference play and a chance to blow it open for the Golden Eagles here inside of Mole Arena. Blow it wide open, that is, if they can win this one. Arguably one of the bigger upsets in program history if they can get it done here in conference. Cornerstone's been known for the dramatics here in 2023, and I don't expect that to stop tonight. Ball's up. Won by Cornerstone. Stephanie Ainsworth comes away with it, and here we go. Kennedy Helderip with the ball. Folks, Steen, out to Helderip, past her and out of bounds. So right back to Indiana Tech. And Titus, right out of the gate, that's something you can't do against a team like this. Extra opportunities, extra possessions, simply a no-go here tonight.
Now you mentioned it, when such big underdogs, you can't give a team with the firepower of Indiana Tech free chances.
That shot off the mark. Erica Foy that time underneath the bucket as there's a jump ball. Mackenzie Steen ended up getting tied up with Worm at Westerville, Ohio, and will stay right here with Indiana Tech. Again, this is a team in Tech that loves to maximize on their opportunities offensively. Here's a good dish inside, and exhibit number 1 of that. That time, Worm able to convert. It's right back here to Mackenzie Steen. As we mentioned, Jessie Biggs, the head coach for Indiana Tech, into her 10th season. Jessica Yonkers, season number 5, and the best one so far for Cornerstone. Helderip, hesitation 3, nowhere close. Bounces around, Foy able to come down with it and dishes it out. Lots of stat leaders on this Tech team. We talked about the veteran leadership. As Foy drives inside and gets it swatted away. Stephanie Ainsworth actually hit it off of Foy, so that's a double whammy. Gets it swatted. Off for her, out of bounds, back to Cornerstone, trailing 2.
You really can't say enough about what Ainsworth has done, especially offensively, leading the team with rebounds and scoring, but obviously he just showed she can play some defense too.
On blocks, she's got 2.3 average, just about 2.5 per game. In between her and Kennedy Helderip, and just pestering teams. Helderip takes herself 1-on-3, floats it and hit, ripping it down there to Covington. One of the young guns on this team, Tara Glassman, she's kind of the bright spot for the future. You want to look that direction. Here's the 3 that's up, and it's good. Top 5 in shooting percentage in the conference. Shows you why. 5-0. 8:15 to play. Helderip to Jackie Long, who was the hero in their last game over Lawrence. Steen. 17 against Madonna. Model last year spent on the injury reserve. Ainsworth 1-on-1 with 2 seconds. Floats that one. Can't hit. It's knocked away. Back to Indiana Tech, but it's whistled as a shot clock violation.
And this defense for Indiana Tech has been absolutely terrific all season, only allowing 58 points per game on average. If Cornerstone is going to try to sit and score on the offensive sets, it could become a pretty long evening here.
Towards the bottom of the conference in terms of teams that send others to the free throw line. That's a beautiful backdoor cut. Good find there by Decker. Now they'll reset on a drive down the middle. That shot up and good. Converting on that one looked like McLean. And now it's 7-0 right out of the gate here for Tech. But this is a team, Titus, in Tech that relies on you missing open, available shots. As that one's knocked out of bounds, it'll stay with Cornerstone.
Yeah, that last possession really just way too easy. There was not a single Cornerstone defender within 5 feet as she went up for that layup.
And as you watch this game kind of progress here in this first quarter, you start to get an understanding as to what makes them so good. They play fast. They're able to come away with extra possessions like they're trying to right here, and they do. Stephanie Ainsworth falls over. It's a travel. And Tech gets the basketball back.
I mentioned briefly in the pregame, if Cornerstone wants much of a chance to be able to pull off this upset, they're going to have to force turnovers and get some points in transition, but first couple of minutes, it's been Indiana Tech doing that, not Cornerstone. So
they're going to need a giant bucket coming out of the break. We'll take a break, too. 7:03 here in the first quarter. Tech up 7-0. Cornerstone Sports Network. First quarter of play brought to you by ITS Partners. Best IT advisors work with practitioners who have really lived in their customers' shoes. People who know their stuff, people who get their hands dirty, people who really care about outcomes. It's a team they build at ITS. Visit itsdelivers.com for more information. Cornerstone down 7 here early, yet to find their first bucket as a jump ball is called, and it'll be right back to Cornerstone. So a chance for them to do that here. This is a Cornerstone team who, again, has won a lot of games because of their pestering defense. Number 2 in blocks per game. Number 2 in steals per game in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. But they need a few big buckets to get them back going in the right direction here. 2-3 zone here for Tech. Long from Long, and it falls. Jaxie Long hits that one, first big one. Here for Cornerstone at 7-3. And with that 2-3 zone, you can tell Tech is trying to basically take away any sort of options for CU inside. One-on-one, off the glass, pretty much as easy as it gets there. Drive inside and a whistle. Looks like Folks draws the foul.
Now you mentioned the 2-3 defense for Indiana Tech to start the game. When you sit in that 2-3 defense, you're basically daring the other team to shoot, and to beat a 2-3 defense, you really have to be able to hit threes. Expect Indiana Tech to sit in that until Cornerstone knocks down a couple more of those triples and forces them to come out of it.
Cornerstone has shown a willingness to shoot the 3 ball this year. The only thing is, can they hit it efficiently enough to climb back into this one?
They had a couple of games there where it felt like they couldn't miss from 3, but had a couple of bad ones too.
It's been one of the transitions this year. This team just more comfortable in general shooting that ball. Shot more threes this season than what they have in the past 3 seasons. Worm still into the game here for Indiana Tech. This time it's Foy taking it herself. Dishes it back out to Worm. Worm over to Covington, who stops at the free throw line, and that one rolls around no good. Good box out by Helderip. Baseball pass up ahead, and it's intercepted. As now a couple of players get tied up. Bethany Worm. They're going to end up hitting. Looked like that time it was Kennedy Helderip on the foul. So Worm and Helderip got tied up near the Eagle logo. But 9-5, Cornerstone back within 4, 5:42 to play in the first quarter. Step back, quick jumper. Whitaker can't hit. Steen rips it down. Cornerstone likes to play quick and in transition, but luckily have good guards that can pump the brakes when they need to, like Kennedy Helderip. Tries to find Ainsworth inside. Good defense, though. Foy, she watched film this week, knocked that one away en route. Foy gets a pass. 1-on-2, passes it back out up top. Now a three-pointer that's no good, back iron. Steen rips it down. That one, Kyra Whitaker again firing from 3. Already 3 attempts. Inside of 5 minutes, 4:57. And now kind of shifting back into a man-man look here. Folks, a stop and pop. That rolls around and doesn't fall. And taken away by Steen. So a couple of good takeaways here for Cornerstone.
Some really sloppy passes in transition for both teams so far.
Steen, finger roll, +1. Gets it to fall, draws the contact. Corinne Smith defensively on the foul and a chance to now cut it within one. So they were down 7-0 to start this game. Now 9-7 with a free throw attempt. But we were talking about just how experienced this Tech team is, and of course Cornerstone's getting there, but here's the way the roster breaks down. Steen will attempt her free throws. It rattles around to good. 9-8 with 4:29 to play in the first quarter. Junior, sophomore, freshman, graduate student, redshirt senior, sophomore, graduate student, redshirt junior, junior, and then they have two more juniors and I believe a senior on their team. And when you have all those combined years between your players, the synergy kind of comes naturally.
Especially when you take those red shirts into account. That's a lot of seasons of college basketball on that roster.
Look at Jaxie Long fighting through the defense. Puts a hand up and is able to defend it well, as it looked like Kyra Whitaker took a hit on the way down. Ainsworth, incidental contact as it bounces off the foot of Worm and rolls out. And that's the argument of Jessie Biggs, who is up in the grill of the referee near side, and it's kind of her argument right now. Covington shot the ball and then immediately got knocked over by Stephanie Ainsworth. Jaylee Long with the ball, finds Slider. Slider has to just get rid of it. And now there's a scramble and Ainsworth comes away. Inside to Slider. She converts for two.
Very interesting to see Cornerstone go with Ainsworth and Slider on the court at the same time. They're two big men, or big women, I guess. Don't see them on the court at the same time very often. Interesting look.
Foul down low. Madison Folks kind of shrugs it off, says is what it is. One of the things that's very telling right now, the off-ball physicality of these two teams, is now Jessie Biggs is over towards the scorer's table saying something. But Cornerstone, their first lead of the game, 10-9. How about that? 10-2 run since the 7-0 to start the game. Slider, now Ainsworth knocks it away from Worm, and she's able to get away with it. Long takes it. Stops at the three, makes a move, now backs out again. To Kubik. Slider gets pushed from behind by Worm, but no call.
Definitely looked like Worm got away with one there.
Typically, you don't see a player move forward like that without there being a push, as now Jaylee Long's going to get hit with a bump. On the other end, Genevieve Decker was the one that got hit. So already physical bumps both ways, and Titus, you can see the off-ball physicality certainly there between these two teams. You've seen a couple of off-ball fouls here within the last minute and a half. That three's on the way, and it falls. Corinne Smith out of Fenton, Michigan. Sophomore, 6 foot. Puts Tech back out in front now, 12-10 inside of three. Ainsworth, one-on-one, right where they want her. Puts it up, can't hit, can't come down with a rebound. Instead, it's Worm. Swinging it. Smith, back to Worm. Quick trigger, rolls around, no good.
Cornerstone doing an excellent job on the boards, especially on the defensive end, not allowing any second chances. I don't think Indiana Tech has a single offensive rebound yet. It's a very, very good sign.
It's a team that doesn't come away with a lot of offensive rebounds. Slider, Ainsworth, what a find. Eyes up when you're dribbling. Seems like these Cornerstone basketball players had eyes in the back of their head all season long. Inside. Turnaround by Worms, no good. Slider rips it down as it's out to Long with the 2-minute warning. Weaving back and forth. Now back out to the three-point line. Ball to Ainsworth. Now to the other Long. Sizes one up. Can't hit it. Jaylee tried to pursue it to grab the rebound. Worm comes down with it anyway. So start to slowly work their way back the other way. Jessie Biggs still very vocal from her coach's position. She understands how hard it is to play inside a Mo Arena. Doesn't matter who you are. Good turnaround jumper. Taylor Covington Gives it back to Tech, 14-12. Again, her 10th season as the head coach. She's also the director of athletics, was named to that position back in 2020. Of course, a season that was a roller coaster for every athletic department. Kubik makes this a roller coaster of a first quarter, 15-14. See you back out in front. But before this season, Biggs, overall record 209-85. Equally as impressive in the conference. Worm, +1. Slaps the floor after she converts. 16-15, chance to make it a 2-point lead, but inside of the WAC, 137-45. And has really made a premier program here at Indiana Tech. 28 WAC Player of the Week honors, 29 Scholar Athletes, 32 All-Conference selections, 12 All-Americans, and even 2 Newcomer of the Year awards. This one falls for Worm, 17-15. And of all the things that Tech does well, I feel like basketball is probably number one on that list.
Especially this year. I mean, both teams currently ranked in the top 12 in the country. I mean, kind of hard to beat that.
Long, slider, quick jumper, rolls around, no good. No one there to rebound, but Steen thought she would get tricky. He gets caught reaching into the cookie jar. And they're into the bonus. 17-15, tight first quarter, though. We get a chance to take a look at some of those statistics. Report back to you guys. Worm will get a chance to shoot potentially a pair of free throws here. It will be a pair. The bonuses are automatically 2 shots. Was not a brick. 18-15.
In many ways, this actually kind of works out to Cornerstone's advantage because this will give them a chance to get the ball back and hold for last shot. If it weren't for the foul, it would have been last shot for Indiana Tech. So
never underestimate what a buzzer beater can do for your confidence. Doesn't matter first quarter, last quarter, first half, last half. 12 seconds to go. Held rip dribbling. Finds Slider. Slider backdoor to Steen, who gets hooked, but there's no call. Quick turnaround. Covington gives it up. Pump fake. Deep three. No good.
Don't think she got it off in time anyway. It was
maybe just in time. Juliana Burris, her first shot of the game, is nowhere close. But a 19-15 lead, tight first quarter. Expect more of that when we come back. Cornerstone Sports Network. If you're looking to complete your degree and advance your career, Cornerstone University's professional and graduate studies have an accelerated and convenient program just for you. Visit cornerstone.edu for more information. And if you're looking for a WAC title, this is the game you have to win. I know this team was considered a long shot in the preseason polls, picked to finish 9th They're a far cry from that at this point of the season, but they have to prove they've arrived by winning this game. Good defense by Long. Slider rips it down, and it's right back to Cornerstone.
I've been very impressed with the defensive effort from Cornerstone. Remember, last time these two teams played, Indiana Tech put up 112. Very, very different beginning to this one, especially on the defensive end for Cornerstone.
Folks, Helderip, Steen, back out to Helderip. Good closeout defense by Covington, but it doesn't matter. Helderip knocks that one down in the face. Covington makes it 19-18. Back down to a 1-point lead for Tech. 3-pointer the other way. Rims out. Slider comes down with it. And chance for CU to push back out in front. Looking at a lot of these statistics, though, from the first quarter, really nothing that in particular stood out. No big differences between these two teams. Pretty much evenly matched all the way through that first quarter. Indiana Tech, the slight edge in shooting percentage, over 43%. Cornerstone, about 38%. Helderip, one fake, two fakes. Going to work. Let her cook. Can't find anything. Now out to Long, who drives, floats one. That's no good. Good defense by Tech. Steen tries for the steal. Instead, it's a pump and a finish. There that time by Decker. Out of Anchor Bay High School. Good pump fake to get the jump from Slider. Helderip wants the points back. Gives it to Steen. Splits the defenders. Can't finish. Instead, it's Helderip that does it for her. Back and forth we go between these two teams. Tech just 2 for 6 from the 3-point line. Cornerstone sticking with their man-to-man look as Foy drives baseline, that time on Slider. Makes it a 23-20 game. No chance to breathe, though. Long, baseline, looking for somebody. Finds Steen. Steen, Helderip, deep three, can't find it.
Perhaps feeling a little overconfident after going 2 for 2 to start the quarter.
Nice passing. How about that? Tic-tac-toe. Whitaker inside. Immediately turns and finds Foy, who gets an and one opportunity, up 25-20. Another interesting trend, though, I feel like this year, I think Coach Yonkers is a little bit more comfortable letting this team play fast. Breakneck speed, up and down the floor. I feel like in previous seasons, they were just trying to learn the offense more and more. They had to play slow. They had to work a lot of the players in. Now I feel like their transition offense is in a better spot than what it's been in previous years.
For sure. There's the learning curve, of course, because pretty much everyone was a freshman, sophomore last year. And also the confidence that comes with the extra year of experience under your belt.
Of course, the Golden Eagles have been dealing with a lot of health issues. We've talked about that in previous seasons. Mackenzie Steen, who we've mentioned on this broadcast, she had 17 against Madonna. Sat out most of last year with an injury. Worm steps in that time, takes it away from Ainsworth. Second biggest lead of the night here for Indiana Tech, up 6. Tried to make it 8 in the biggest lead, but can't finish. Ainsworth there with the rebound. But Mackenzie Steen spent half of last season injured. Kennedy Helderip had an ACL tear not long ago. She's been healthy all year. That's really been the difference maker. It just goes to show that the recruiting has been efficient. Been finding talented players. Steen, baseline, floats it, too strong, gets it back, floats it up again, and then it won't fall. The whistle sounds, but the shot clock needed to be reset, as instead they're going to say it was Stephanie Ainsworth on a foul.
That's one Steen wants to have back, especially that first look. Blew by the defender and pretty much all alone down there in the block. Just rushed it a little bit.
You know, as you know, the message coming into this game is, listen, all the pressure in the world is on them. Ainsworth looked like a clean block. Instead, it looked like it was Jaylee Long who went back door and got hit with the body. So it'll be 2 shots incoming here. And it'll be number 13 to take it here. Kyra Whitaker for Indiana Tech, up 6. We know the expectation is Tech is really supposed to win this game, favorited to win this game. But on the other end, you have to make open shots. You can't get cold offensively shooting the basketball. Well, it's going to be a long night.
Especially on the Indiana Tech side, you'd think after such a blowout victory last time, winning by almost 50 points, if they could have come into this one a little overconfident, it's a trap many good teams have fallen into throughout the years.
Folks, Steen, long, Ainsworth, long, pulls up, can't hit it, misses everything, and it hits the out-of-bounds line. 27-20, matching the largest lead of the game here for Tech. This bench trying to rally. Cornerstone back into it. Again, 5th season for Jessica Yonkers at the helm of this program. He's the head coach at Rockford High School, not too far away from this campus, just up the Beltline. Did pretty well there. Pull-up jumper by Foy. That's money. Erica Foy, number 3 in field goal percentage in the conference, 54%. Juliana Burris right behind her, number 5. Along with being a glass cleaner. She's making critical buckets here in this second quarter. Ainsworth, one-on-one, nowhere to go. Steen, quick jumper, doesn't hit. Pursues a rebound and ends up getting hooked. Off the ball that time, it's Worm. It'll stay with the Golden Eagles. Indiana Tech 6-game winning streak coming into this one. Last 5 games, they've won by a total of 25-plus points. You play one perfect quarter against them, but you have to be perfect the whole game. Nowhere to go. Stifling defense. Long finally gets it. 17 to shoot. Finds Ainsworth. Makes a good pivot move, but can't finish on the other end as Foy rips it down the way she normally does. Smith, pump fake, backdoor Worm, one-on-one, can't convert. Ainsworth knocks it out, and because of that, it'll stay with the Warriors. I'll tell you what, Jessie Biggs, has got some volume on her.
Yeah, quite the pipes. Maybe could have been a good broadcaster in a different
Probably.
life.
In another life, in another universe, that's what she's doing. Tech to dish it in here with 4:37. 9-point lead. Our ITS Partners halftime show coming up. Again, 6-game winning streak for Tech. Blown out pretty much most of the teams they've played. And that includes, as you mentioned, Titus, the first matchup against this Cornerstone team. 112 points to just 74 for CU. Jaylee Long, rather the other Long, hit with the foul, makes it 31-20 with a chance to add one more here for Indiana Tech. And if they're not careful, this one might get away too.
Yeah, overall, definitely, obviously, a much better start to this game than we had last time these two teams met up. But on the defensive end, Cornerstone allowing a lot of backdoor cuts leading to some wide open layups. They're going to have to tighten that up for sure if they're going to climb back into this.
Tech sliding back into the zone, basically dedicating one player to kind of protect the interior. So you need the mid-range game to come along. That time it did for Olivia Kubik. No time wasted, though, going the other way for the Warriors. Worm, they swing it to Foy with a jumper, can't find it, and it's down to Long. Long eyes up. Finds Kubik. Open three, nowhere close. Second air ball in this game for Cornerstone. It's back to Tech. Stephanie Ainsworth had 15 points in that last game against Indiana Tech. Madison Folks, who's been better from the three-point line. Surprised she hasn't taken too many tonight, but 12 points in that game. But it was an absolute feast for Kyra Whitaker and Erica Foy against Cornerstone the last time around. 42 combined points between those two.
Yeah, that's the thing you mentioned. We scored 74 that game. That's not a bad offensive day at all. It was the defense for Cornerstone that just completely broke down on every possible level. Very
Kubik.
rarely do you see 112 points in the collegiate level, especially on the women's side.
Covington. Foy wide open on the three-point line, trying to rotate. Goes one-on-one against Slider. Smith in the corner. Knocks down the three. .12 lead. Long, why not? Almost a response. Slider can't beat Foy inside, and tell you what, if they continue to isolate her down low, it might be a long day. Kennedy Helderup reached to try and hit that one off of her fingertips out of bounds. 2:31 to play, down 12. Kyra Whitaker, 22 last time against CU. Overall, 5 different players for Tech in double digits. In that game against Cornerstone the first time around over in Indiana. I should say down in Indiana. Down and over, technically, right? Foy, one-on-one, finds the bucket. Casey Slider put her hand up, couldn't defend well enough, and a game that looked respectable at one point, now kind of starting to snowball a little bit for the Golden Eagles. Luckily, halftime just 2 minutes away.
This is a vital 2 minutes, though. If you're Cornerstone, you can't let this lead keep slipping the way it has the last couple minutes.
Inside, foul called. Corinne Smith was going one-on-one. Looked like inside there that time against Jaxie Long. Worm will check back in. Kubik, Slider are out. Ainsworth, Madison Folks check back in. Now with minute 56 to play. Ainsworth, one-on-one against Foy. Leaves it for Helderup for a three. Can't find that one. Cornerstone has gone bone dry from the three-point line here in the second quarter. Big reason why they're trailing by as much as they are. A lot of those passing lanes just aren't open right now. 1:34 to play. Foy, Covington. Right back to her. Stops and pops for a two. Can't find it. Worm underneath. Gets fouled and gets one more. Madison Folks couldn't go one-on-one. 38-22 and a free throw on the way. That one sinks. Bethany Worm already 14 points in this game. She's on pace to get close to 30 by the time all is said and done. Helderup tries a hardened step back. Can't hit that.
Now, Cornerstone just pressing too much offensively, settling for deep threes early in the shot clock. And as you mentioned, bone cold from three. I think at some point they got to try something different.
Tie up underneath. We'll give the ball back to Cornerstone. I've nothing against taking those shots, but you got to knock them down. We'll talk about that, of course, coming up in the halftime show. But
and with that miss now, 3 of 11 from deep, and I believe all 3 of those makes were in the first quarter. So
Bethany Worm, 14. Erica Foy, 9 points for Indiana Tech. Shot put up. Another three-pointer off the mark. Bethany Worm, just a redshirt junior for Indiana Tech. 33 games. Started 6 times as a sophomore. Averaged about 8.2, 4.5, but has grown a lot in that position. Physically just kind of dominating Cornerstone. She dumps this one inside, nearly gets an assist. Madison Folks, very aggressive, doesn't draw a call. Cornerstone trying to hold on maybe for just one more, only 9 seconds to go. Just chaos. Ainsworth. Kubik. Baseline. Can't make it. Nothing is called, and both sides pleading for a whistle, but no one will get it. That's the end of half number one, 39-22. Mountain just got a little bit taller for Cornerstone to try and climb back into this one, but when we come back, take a look at our ITS Partners halftime report, get some opinions on what we need to do in half number two. Cornerstone Sports.
University of Michigan Health is now University of Michigan Health West. Call us bold, owning our role as part of one of the top health systems in the world. Call us compassionate, as we deliver care with dignity, kindness, and respect. Call us relentless, letting absolutely nothing come between us and our mission of advancing care. Excellence has a new name, University of Michigan Health West. Find out more at ufmhealthwest.org.
do I be there for my family and going back to school? How can I go back to school if I work all day? How am I going to pay for this? At Cornerstone University's Professional and Graduate Studies, we've got you covered. We know you're busy. That's why our programs are designed to fit your schedule. Take your program online or on campus one night a week in either Grand Rapids or Kalamazoo. Our programs are built to fit your needs as a working adult. 88% of our students work full-time while gaining their degree, and with faculty, peers, and curriculum that are focused on immediate applicability, you can use what you learn on the job now. Our degrees are affordable, and you can pay one course at a time. In addition, financial aid is available. Over 74% of our students receive it. Cornerstone University. Let's get started.
It's halftime here on the Cornerstone Sports Network. 39-22 Indiana Tech going on an 18-2 run there at the end of the first half in order to take this massive lead going into overtime. Just over 4 minutes left to go until half number 2. Halftime show brought to you by Orthopedic Associates of Michigan. Dr. Thomas Metalik is proud to be the Golden Eagles' official orthopedic physician. Dr. Metalik is a partner at Orthopedic Associates of Michigan, where he specializes in sports medicine. Visit oamichigan.com. And Titus, we're looking at some of the stats here during halftime, and not too many glaring statistical categories in terms of one team having the advantage over the other, but one area we can't say conclusively Cornerstone struggled with was number one, offensive rebounds, only 3 of them in that first half, and also just stone cold from the three-point line.
Yeah, especially in that 18-2 run that ended the first half, as you were mentioning. Cornerstone settling for a lot of deep threes, and they just weren't falling, going only 3 for 12 from deep in the first half. And that's largely what led to Indiana Tech being able to shoot 20% better from the field as a team. And obviously, when you're shooting 20% better from the field, there's a very, very good chance you're going to have a substantial lead, which they do.
And I think a lot of that comes down to, well, number one, they're winning the rebounding battle. Not by much, but they are winning the rebounding battle. And I think number two, again, they came out with that zone look that they kind of shifted back into. They're comfortable letting Cornerstone trying to beat them from the three-point line, but right now just not working for CU. For Indiana Tech, though, Bethany Worm leading the way, 14 points. Erica Foy second right now. She has 9. And then Corinne Smith with 6. On the other end, Kennedy Helder at 5, Jaxie Long 3, and Mackenzie Steen 3. They'll look to get some of those main scorers back involved in the action here in half number 2. Any other stats that really stick out to you about that first half? And I guess what does Cornerstone need to do in half number 2 to turn it around?
I think on the offensive end, you just got to be careful that you're not becoming too one-dimensional and settling for those threes constantly. In the first half, Indiana Tech led with 22 points in the paint to only 8 points in the paint for Cornerstone. That is a very substantial difference, something that you'd like to change in the second half. And defensively for Cornerstone, they just were allowing too many easy points, especially in transition. They're not true transition points. Those ones where they get easy looks in the first 5 seconds, they're not technically transition points, but they really are. Just allowing too many easy backdoor cuts and easy layups. Cornerstone's got to tighten it up on defense and then find better looks on offense.
Tighten it up on one side, let it fly on the other. We'll see if they can do that successfully. Try to climb this mountain to get back into this one. Down 17, just over 2 to play until we come back, or over 2 to go on the scoreboard, I should say, until we come back for half 2 on the Cornerstone Network.
University of Michigan Health is now University of Michigan Health West. Call us bold, owning our role as part of one of the top health systems in the world. Call us compassionate, as we deliver care with dignity, kindness, and respect. Call us relentless, letting absolutely nothing come between us and our mission of advancing care. Excellence has a new name, University of Michigan Health West. Find out more at ufmhealthwest.org.
Well, I heard a rumor there might be Detroit Wing Company at come the men's game. I'll tell you what, I am obsessed. They have these Parmesan boneless wings. I've always been a honey barbecue kind of guy, but I could have about 14, not 14, about 24 of those.
I'm going to say 14. We're being rather generous. At least that'd be generous for me.
It's very generous.
A few things can make basketball better, but wings certainly one of them.
Of course, I won't compare it to other wing places, but Detroit Wing Company, they bring it. They probably bring the heat, too, if you like that. Are you a heat guy, Titus?
I am not. I do not like spicy food all that much.
Tell you what, I like spicy food, but only when I'm congested because it opens everything up. So
That's true. It does.
Taste it a little bit better.
I'm not one of those people who almost die when they eat it. Not one of those people, but I don't enjoy it.
I think that's what Cornerstone's talking about. After this comeback win, we'll go get some Detroit Wing Company.
Honestly, if they pull it off, they certainly earned it.
Yeah, no food for the alumni. Food for this team for fighting back and winning.
Yes.
If it happens. 39-22 here in the second half. Back alongside you, Titus. Nate Wangler here on the Cornerstone Sports Network. Tall mountain to climb here for Cornerstone here in half number 2. Tech just got on a roll at the end and doesn't look like they plan on stopping. Backdoor cut. Good dish by Foy. Looked like that time it was Decker who's able to convert. Now it's 41-22. That was what you talked about, Titus, during the halftime show. Just not able to defend well. Too many backdoor cutting alleys for Indiana Tech, and they're just able to move the basketball too easily. Covington, or rather Ainsworth, able to get to the free throw line. Cornerstone third in the conference in made free throws this season. Big part of the reason why they've been in games, but they need them now. Not a good start. Back iron, no good. Shot number 2 coming out.
And really, I think it's starting to show the speed of Indiana Tech. Cornerstone just not being able to keep up, especially on the defensive end with those constant cuts coming from all different areas of the court, and Cornerstone just has not been able to disrupt the passing lanes at all.
Tech trying to work their offense here. My guess is they'll probably slip into more of a half court. No need to push at all. Foy can't hit from deep. Fortunate for Cornerstone, just trying to keep it respectable. Got Helderip second in assists in the conference. Now inside to Ainsworth, who goes one-on-one and converts. Hits a bucket over Foy. Kennedy Helderip now out of position as she tried to go for the steal. Sometimes her signature move. Covington the other way. Goes right into the face of Folks and hits that shot. A little bit of a size advantage there for Covington. Back to 43-24. Inside of 9 minutes to play. Of course, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but men's game coming up. Part 2 of our doubleheader tonight. What a special occasion for Coach E. We'll tell you why in a second. Madison Folks can't hit that one. Foy comes down with the rebound, and it's a jump ball. All right. Kennedy Helderip doing Kennedy Helderip things, mixing it up, coming away with a tie-up, and it'll stay with the Golden Eagles. 43-24. Just what a scrappy player. It's always good for a few extra possessions. Again, most takeaways in the conference, and she more than doubles the person who sits behind her.
Yeah, it's a high-risk, high-reward mentality that she has. You saw the last time. She went for the steal and ended up being a 5-on-4 possession there for Indiana Tech for a bit, but definitely does pay off at times as well.
Ainsworth on Foy, gets it knocked away, but it'll stay with CU. Hussar gave her the bump and then tried to go up quickly. Gets it swatted away.
That's impressive work from Foy. According to the stat sheet here, if it's correct, Ainsworth should have a 4-inch advantage. Foy only coming in at 5'11" and 6'3" for Ainsworth. That's impressive to be able to get a block like that on someone that much taller than you.
All about positioning. Folks, good wraparound layup. That ends up falling. 43-26. Corinne Smith, who had a couple of big buckets. We're talking about that men's game later tonight. How about one wide open backdoor, one-on-one on long. Ainsworth knocks it away. Good recovery defense. Long,
1-on-3 makes the bucket. I was about to say something about that being a foolish 1-on-3, but if you make it, no one questions it. Probably should have been an and one. Definitely could have been. Not too many times 1-on-1 ends up in someone not getting fouled, but clean defense here tonight for Indiana Tech. Good drive by Foy, can't finish her opportunity. Instead, it's long. Pumps the brakes, sets back up the offense. Down 15, could use a big shot. Addison Folt's top 5 3-point shooting percentage. Will go inside though. Stephanie Ainsworth rotates, finds Steen, and now it's down to 13.
See, they're not settling for those quick, deep threes anymore. Gotten a couple of nice quality looks inside the paint here.
Jessica Yonkers going down the bench one by one, giving out high fives. Covington throws a wet towel over that growing flame for CU, 46-30. Kind of a new element to Coach Jessica Yonkers' game. She's always been vocal, she's always been supportive, but definitely more of a rah-rah coach. At least in games like this, trying to pump up her girls, get her back into it. Worm gets hit with a foul, a little bit of a push from behind on Steen, and 6:22, they'll inbound it from out of bounds.
And when all the momentum is clearly shifted one way, you go on a rough 18-2 run like they did there. Coach has got to do something to be able to get them motivated, because very oftentimes players don't have it in them. They need that spark from a coach or someone coming off the bench, something like that. And obviously that's what Yonkers is trying to do right now.
Just always a good thing knowing you have someone, your best self-interest in mind. Again, Steen was the one who was fouled. Helderip will inbound it from out of bounds. Mackenzie Steen Jr., Brownsburg, Indiana. Again, 15 games last year. Wasn't able to finish the season with Cornerstone. Helderip to Folks, but not before long. Gets hit with a moving screen. Back to Indiana Tech, 6:22 to play in the third quarter. Rebounding has been questionable. A lot of mental mistakes to go with that. Kennedy Helderip rips one away. Looks up ahead. Steen's covered, so she'll stop. Think about it herself, and she'll hold on to it, dish it back out, start up the offense. Ainsworth looking backdoor as it knocked away as Covington is able to sneak her hand in there. 5:57. Long pass. Decker can't convert. Worm with the rebound. Covington's been using a lot of screens to try and open herself up on that three-point line. Foy, in and out. Helderip, long cross-court pass. Normally the cardinal rule, you don't want to do that as it's picked off. Any good team will pick that one off defensively.
My goodness, what terrible passing on both sides.
I love the enthusiasm by Helderip to try and baseball pass that one across court, but again, smart defenses who play heads up are going to pick that one off 99% of the time.
Yeah, the longer the ball is in the air, the worse and worse it gets for the offensive team. That one was in the air for a long time.
Steen one-on-one, gets that one to rattle home, 46-32. It's going to be a big week here for Cornerstone. Again, they play the top two teams in the conference. Starting off with number 1 here tonight, and then Rochester, their next game on the road. One-on-one, Foy, Helderip, she slips free. Tries to call for a double dribble, doesn't get it. 48-32, back to a 16-point advantage. Take a look at the WAC scoreboard around women's side right now as Ainsworth goes one-on-one with Foy, can't hit, knocks it away from Worm, but it's back to Tech. Covington, full sprint. Gives it up to Decker. Gives it up to Worm. Lord, 71-61 winner over Aquinas. That doesn't really impact anybody. Both those teams towards the bottom of the conference. And then Concordia and Lawrence Tech had their game canceled. Foy, running jumper. Splashes it. Now it's an 18-point advantage and another timeout here for Cornerstone. 3:51 to play in the third quarter. Cornerstone Sports Network. I think the message here for Cornerstone is just don't stop fighting. 3:51 left to go in this third quarter. Indiana Tech up by 18. The number to match is 25. That's been the average in their wins over their last 6 to 7 games. It's the average at which they've beaten teams by. More importantly, a lot of teams haven't scored more than 45 on them. Steen, good move. No charge, no block, no nothing, but you can't hit the shot. You have to make those ones.
And don't get much more wide open than that, but sometimes those are the hardest ones. You make your move and you're so shocked by how wide open you are. Kind of hits you in the face almost.
Covington is good from deep. 53-32 and a new biggest lead of the game, now 21 points. And it just looks like Cornerstone kind of scrambling right now. Trying to find answers. Slider inside, right back to that 2-3 zone here for Tech. Heldrip a deep three and a good response. You're okay with that if you're Indiana Tech. They've been few and far between. And when they've needed a response bucket, they've generally gotten one.
But that's a much more quality look from three for Cornerstone. They got the paint touch. They got it inside. The kick back out. It's an in-rhythm look there. At the end of the second quarter, they were taking just step-back threes. They weren't getting really any movement at all with the ball. The shots weren't in rhythm. A much better look from three there for Helderup that time.
Kennedy Helderup leading the way in points. 8 points this game for Cornerstone. Corinne Smith can't hit it. Olivia Kubik rips it down. Senior for this team out of Hopkins High School is Helderup. 101 total assists last year, so surpassed the century mark. About 3.6 per game. Whack all academic. This one's flipped off the side of the backboard, not out of bounds. Looked like it was off Cornerstone, but we'll stay with the Golden Eagles. We'll take that.
Kubik definitely got away with that one. She threw that one right off the backboard herself, but when you're down 20, sometimes you get those little perks.
Slider, a turnaround jumper, can't hit. Side of the rim, no good. Foy rips it down. Makes a move on Slider, pulls up for a jumper, hits the front of the rim. Jaylee Long just probing. Waiting for options to open up. Slider, Steen, Kubik. Was she the last to touch it? Apparently not. It'll stay with the Golden Eagles. But again, the road doesn't get any easier for Cornerstone. Rochester, second best team in the conference on the 28th of January. That one a road game. And then last 2 home games of the season. Dearborn on the 1st of February, then senior night, 4th against Aquinas here inside Mull Arena. Slider floats it, rolls around, and it won't go in.
Senior night should be a pretty quick affair for this women's team.
Well, you say that, but nothing is ever guaranteed in a rivalry game.
No,
ever.
it's not. I mean, the festivities for seniors won't take long. We don't have very many of them.
That's what you meant. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant they're going to make quick work of them. I'm like, I hope.
No.
I hope that's the case.
No, I would never be that confident against Aquinas. Those are always close games.
I was going back and watching highlights. Cornerstone University has done such a good job, their YouTube page, before any of this, before CSPN, before social media. They took videos and posted highlights and compilations and other stuff on their YouTube page, and I thought they did a really good job. But I remember watching I believe it was the 2011 game, as Ainsworth's hit with a foul on Worm. It'll stay with Indiana Tech, but CU was the third best team in the country, taking on Aquinas College, and they won that game in overtime at home. So, Cornerstone has mainly controlled the series, minus the game earlier this season. Aquinas was able to come out on top, but, much like a Hope versus Calvin, much like a Michigan State, someone's bound to pull one out every now and again.
And that's just how it is. It doesn't really matter the sport either. It doesn't matter who's better on paper. Everyone brings their best for those Aquinas Cornerstone games.
Covington. Why not? 56-35, 21-point lead. Feels like it should be 50. Cornerstone looking to make it respectable in the last quarter. Only 10 minutes to go. We'll be right back. This is the Cornerstone Sports Network.
Juggling for my family and going back to school. How can I go back to school if I work all day? How am I going to pay for this? At Cornerstone University's Professional and Graduate Studies, we've got you covered. We know you're busy. That's why our programs are designed to fit your schedule. Take your program online or on campus one night a week in either Grand Rapids or Kalamazoo. Our programs are built to fit your needs as a working adult. 88% of our students work full-time while gaining their degree, and with faculty, peers, and curriculum that are focused on immediate applicability, you can use what you learn on the job now. Our degrees are affordable, and you can pay one course at a time. In addition, financial aid is available. Over 74% of our students receive it. Cornerstone University. Let's get started.
Fourth quarter of our game brought to you by Cousins Tasty Chicken. I know we were talking about Detroit Wing Company. I don't know if they have the best chicken in town. They have good chicken, but I think Cousins takes the pie. You've ever had Cousins?
I have not.
It's the best. Their fries are good. They're more like potato wedges. They're not like the thin cut fries. They're a little bit more hefty, more salt on them. Good hot sauce. Best buttermilk ranch you'll ever find. Trust me. Just trust me on that one.
Maybe I have to go find out if you're telling the truth someday.
But it seems like the alumni are going to keep their chicken, because I don't believe this women's team will come back and win it. But I hope that the broadcaster's reverse jinx is in effect.
Well, now that you talked about it,
or broadcaster's jinx, not reverse jinx, the jinx. That one knocked out of bounds. Decker makes sure it stays with Cornerstone with 9:44 to play.
But I think it's important to keep in mind, yes, it's been a tough last quarter and a half for Cornerstone, finding themselves down 20 here, obviously, but this is nothing new. On average, this Indiana Tech team is beating opponents by 20 or more. So they've been doing this to everybody. This is not a bash against Cornerstone as a program by any means.
We were talking about some of those old school videos, going back to the glory days of Cornerstone basketball, men's basketball. And in 2010, that men's team that ended up winning a national title in 2011, they went to go play Central Michigan on the road at CMU. Well, on paper, an NAIA school against an NCAA Division I school, it shouldn't even be a competition, as that three-pointer's off the mark and right back to Foy and Indiana Tech. Cornerstone lost that game by 3. And it was amazing that Coach Elders, even after nearly beating an NCAA Division I school, said in his post-game presser, we're not into moral victories. It's not what we do here at Cornerstone. So I think, to a certain extent, Foy's fouled, she'll get 2 free throws here up by 20 with 8:44 to go. While that is true, I think there is something to take away from being able to hang with this team for a lot of that first half. And this is kind of a marker for you to understand where we need to get. This is where we are. This is where we need to be if we want to win this conference. This is a good Cornerstone team. Don't get me wrong, but there are still layers to this. There's still a lot of steps that need to be taken, but I think they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
but I think we're done with the moral victories at the end of the day, and I think Jessica Yonkers has made sure of that.
For sure. And, I mean, obviously 10-3 in conference, well, very likely 10-4 here in the next 15, 20 minutes or so. Currently tied for third in the conference. They've definitely taken a couple of steps, as you mentioned. Much better in conference play this year than the last 5 or 6 seasons. But there's still one more step for them to take in order to be elite like Indiana Tech clearly is this year.
Slider sails that one out of bounds. 8:21 to play in this game. At first it was kind of the first few years, it was change the conversation, set a culture. And then this year it was win. It was surpass expectations. And without even knowing what the end of the season looks like, Cornerstone's already done that. Foy, Ainsworth, good defense, rips down the rebound. They said they were going to finish 9th. They probably will not finish 9th.
Even if they lose out, they still wouldn't be 9th, I don't think.
So that's surpassing expectations. Ainsworth, a charge. And with 7:52 to play and a 22-point lead, Indiana Tech, much like a football team who needs to rely on points to get themselves a better seeding in the playoffs, they're just going to try and run up the score a little bit here. Just kind of finish this game off. 3-pointer won't fall. Ainsworth down with it. She outlets it here to Helderup.
Another dangerous pass.
Folks, a spin move and one more. All right. Past 2 defenders.
Again, with Helderup with that dangerous pass, mentioned it earlier, high risk, high reward. And good, strong finish from Folks in the paint. Normally see her as more of a 3-point shooter, but that was a good, strong finish in the paint there.
And I think for Cornerstone tonight, another thing too, Titus, this is a team that's used to shooting a lot of free throws. Again, they've made the 3rd most of any team in the conference. They've also attempted a lot more than most teams. Top 4 in that regard in the WAC. But tonight, they just haven't been able to get there. And it's just clean defense by Indiana Tech. 6 attempts all night tonight for Cornerstone. 4 makes.
Not sure what everyone's booing about. You could hear the slap up here.
I think the argument maybe it wasn't in the shooting motion, but Covington just kind of threw it up there at the end. But so just trying to sell the foul. Covington did so successfully. So the rare 3 points, or rather 3 shots at the free throw line coming up, as some of the students haven't given up on the booing yet. Covington sinks the first one, 58-38.
Gives them something to do. If you can't cheer, boo. Why not?
So everyone sits and patiently waits for Covington to finish up with 3 free throws. What a big help Taylor Covington has been. Again, kind of the future. A bright light in what should be more successful seasons to come for Indiana Tech. That one floats up and good from Jaxie Long. Out of Dublin, Ohio initially. 5'7" is Covington, but good handles. Near the tops in scoring here tonight for Indiana Tech. And again, just commands the floor well as she finds Foy on the backdoor dish. Just adding some insurance at this point, 62-40. Madison Folks, a three-point shot, gets knocked over and doesn't get a call. Well, much like we can't stop doing our jobs, neither can the refs. Worm can't hit the shot, back down to Cornerstone. I mean nothing by that, but you can't get knocked over, and you got to be able to land somewhere.
There is something to let them play, but if you're going to let them play, you got to let them play both ways.
I understand letting them play. Don't stop doing your job. Covington with the basketball up top. Dish inside to Decker, who has it knocked away by Ainsworth, now into the hands of Long. Steen gets bumped. And the much-awaited whistle finally sounds here for CU. Good look ahead at Indiana Tech's schedule, though. Tonight, most likely, will be a victory here over Cornerstone, barring some sort of miracle. And they have Northwestern Ohio. Siena Heights is in the top three in the conference. It's pretty much conference play from here on out. And, you know, looking at it, I think Siena Heights and Rochester probably their last two tough tests. And if they continue to play the way they are, scary to consider the fact that Tech might not just have one team in the top 10 in basketball, but two, men's and the women's side.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all if this women's team for Indiana Tech is in the top 10 here very soon.
Sound team basketball all around, 20-point lead, closing in on 5 minutes to play. Beautiful backdoor pass, no one even close. Foy to Worm. You can just kind of feel the energy coming out of the gym.
Yeah, just going through the motions on defense. It's never acceptable to have layups that wide open.
This game pretty much over, but Mackenzie Steen isn't ready to go quite yet. 20-point lead, chance to make it 19. Well, at the end of the day, Titus, you know, the other thing you're looking for, you know, I mean, it's kind of like the, you know, did you do better against this team the second time around? You know, how do you track progress? Well, who do we play? Did we play better against them the second time around? I think conclusively we can say yes, but just a slow shooting night here tonight. And again, the referees, I'm going to say this is probably the most fluent game we've ever called this season. Just letting them play in all aspects. Foy drives left, back right. Hits the front of the rim, slider. Out to Kubik.
Yeah, definitely a lot of bright spots in this for Cornerstone. Really, it was just the second quarter that was bad. If you take the second quarter out of it, this would just be a 6 or 7 point game. Unfortunately, we can't just eliminate a quarter.
Yeah, not how it goes. Not how it goes. Tech taking all the time they need. Foy. Side of the rim, Steen. Has it knocked out of her hands, but back to Slider, and now they outlet it here to Long. 3:49 to play in this game. Kubik a pump fake, drives, dishes it. Now back out to Long, who shoots from three, but can't find anything. Jason Hutton just beyond the play there on the far side of your screen, all the way to the right. Fox 17 in attendance tonight. Still a chance for Cornerstone to land a big upset. So they get ready to take on the number 8 team in the country in the Indiana Tech Warriors, and former Cornerstone Golden Eagle, national champion and recruiting coordinator Tim Albert. Who Cornerstone, for the first time in his time there, has led them to a top 10 spot. That pass has sailed high. It'll be back to Indiana Tech, but you think about that coaching tree for Coach Kim Elders and just how impressive it truly is. Andy Bronkema, who led Ferris State to their first ever national championship as a program, and that's regardless of sport in basketball. Used to play here for Cornerstone, won a national championship. Ted Albert, who is working Indiana Tech in that direction, now a top 10 team. And, of course, Coach E, still kicking, season number 30 here with the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, when you learn from the best, you're able to hopefully become the best, and Coach E definitely that. And having lots of his former assistants go off, has success, as you're talking about, that's the sign of a great coach.
It's tough to do things well. It's tough to stay good for a long time, and I can only hope and pray that I'm able to do this at a high level for 30 years.
Not many people can do that in any profession.
Yes, that's right. Any job. Covington is corner three, can't make it. Folks a rebound and a quick outlet. Now to Long. Jaylee goes baseline, doesn't like her chances, gives it off to her sister, who misses the three.
Now, that should be
if a handful of those shots fall tonight, Titus, this is a different game.
For sure. They've gotten some quality looks, and again, especially from three, still leave only like 3 for probably close to 20 by now. Pull up the exact stats here, but it's been tough sledding from 3. Something that they're normally pretty good at, shooting like 38% from 3 nearly on the year.
Tech making some mass substitutions. Burris checked in. Laney Steckler into the game. Warren Barton, Jr. for this team. Dory Javens, Fort Wayne, Indiana's. Madison Folks can't hit that jumper. And it looks like Jenny Decker also in for Tech. Minute 41 left to go. Got our men's game coming up in a little bit. Tech, number 8 in the country. Cornerstone's men's side has had a little experience playing against top 10 teams this year, though. Again, hosted number 2 Grace College of Indiana a little bit earlier this year. Just lost that game by 5. So they were in that one right till the very end. Also at Indiana Wesleyan to start the year. They lost that game by 6. Talked about moral victories. I don't think Coach E was happy that they lost those games. But I think there is something to be said about, hey, you were still in it against 2 top 5 programs.
Yeah, it should be a very interesting one for both sides today. As you mentioned, Cornerstone being able to hang with some of the best teams in the country, just haven't quite been able to get over that hump. Another thing that's worth noting, Jack Joldersma is now back for Cornerstone. I believe this is his 3rd game back. So obviously he did not play the first time these two teams met, and he adds a very unique wrinkle, especially on the defensive side for other teams, to try to handle his bounces. He can get up with the best of them.
That men's team for Indiana Tech, they do everything well. But you're right, Jack Joldersma back in the lineup, and my only hope is for our broadcast we can get a high-flying moment at some point.
Last season he was good for 1 or 2 a game.
Get him out into open court and let him do his thing. I might have my Miles Bridges Charlotte Hornets moment if it ever comes true. Slider a good block.
Those Hornets announcers haven't had quite nearly as much to get excited about this season, but definitely some of the best in the business. Very entertaining.
Eric Collins, the TV voice of the Charlotte Hornets. It's pretty much it's his trademark, going absolutely ballistic on highlights. And normally in broadcaster school, they teach you not to do that. They teach you to compose yourself and not lose your cool and scream. Well, Eric Collins has pretty much made it his career doing the exact opposite of that. I mean, this man goes crazy over free throws. That's what makes him so exciting. So maybe we'll get a Joldersma moment, more importantly, an Eric Collins moment later tonight in that men's game. Indiana Tech just trying to waste as much time as they can. Backdoor dish underneath. Almost a bucket. Good rebound, though. Lauren Barton gets the ball back. All Tech has to do is hold on to the basketball, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. 4 seconds, we play a little ball tag, and now the horn will sound. 66-46, the final here. Indiana Tech falling just shy of that average they've been beating teams by. Just 20-point victory here tonight, but again, holding Cornerstone sub 50 points in this one. Cold shooting performance. Another victory for Indiana Tech as they look forward to the rest of their season. Again, for Cornerstone coming up after this one, it's Rochester on the 28th on the road, and it's back at home February 1st, and then senior night on the 4th here inside of Moll Arena. Well, Titus, again, tight first quarter, let it go in the second quarter, played decent down the stretch, but what's the one takeaway for you from this game?
Yeah, I think it all comes with consistency on the offensive end. Started pressing a little too much in that second quarter when they gave up a couple of buckets. Defensively got down by 10, 15 there, and just tried to do too much on the offensive end. You can't press. Very important to stay calm, keep your head about you. And when you're running around with like a chicken with your head cut off, then that's not how you win games. But they did kind of look like that for a little bit there in the second quarter and part of the third, too. So just being able to keep your composure, be steady throughout the whole game. Because, again, there were some good minutes there, especially in the first quarter.
Just under 30 minutes to go until our men's game. A big thank you to everybody joined us for this women's tilt against 67-47 final score. 66-46. There we go. Final score here inside of Moll Arena. Men's teams will warm up. We'll bring you back. Cornerstone tries to upset number 8